and then it just went.
Welcome, Council, staff and gallery to the October meeting of Council. And in opening the meeting, we acknowledge country and we meet here in the spirit of respect, cooperation and collaboration. We pay tribute to those who've come before us as we seek to grow our understanding, connection, knowledge, our heritage and culture. And we also pay respect to the traditional custodians of these lands and also acknowledge European settlers whose customs and traditions have been passed down through 6 generations. Councillors, we have a number of delegation and deputations and a volunteer recognition tonight, so we'll push on. We're all present. David's still on, must be on the way, so there's no apologies, so we'll keep moving forward. Item 2.1.1 is the council meeting held on Tuesday the 16th of September at 2025 at 5:30. Moved Councillor Priest and seconded Councillor Hearn. All those in favour? Carried. Matters arising from the previous minutes is a response there from Councillor Priest on page 5.
I'll move that I leave the meeting as a conflict.
Well, we won't be debating it, Councillor, so it's there for information. So thanks for coming forward, but as soon as you got out the door, I'd be bringing you back. Item 3.1.1 is the petition for improved footpaths on Kalimna Road and Light Pass. Item 9 with the recommendations
So
there.
moved.
Yep. Moved, Councillor Priest. Well, I'll grab a second and then you can have a question. Or is there a second to Councillor Schilling? Councillor Priest, do you wish to speak to it?
Yeah, I do. This is not just like to say that this is not the first petition. I mean, there's been several petitions over the years or over the decades for this road. Those who've been on council long enough would know that. The people have been waiting for approximately, from what I've talked to residents, probably over 30 years approximately, to have that footpath and road fixed to the way it should be fixed, so that people and the elderly and the mothers with prams don't have to walk on the road dodging trucks and that, because that footpath, partial footpath that is there, is just pure mud in the winter time. So the sooner we do that, the better it is for those people who've been waiting for decades. Thank you.
Well, it's an item for budget consideration, so that debate will prevail at that stage. Councillor Schilling.
Thank you. I did second the motion, but as I agree that this has been an issue for a while, but I also understand, as per the recommendation, that it is waiting for those developments in that area to be completed. But my question is that as those new residential developments are being completed, does that not initiate a change to the level of service of the road? Because it's currently at I don't know what the different levels of service for the roads are, but I understand that it's at a certain level, and for it to be curbed and that drainage go in on that southern side, that means it has to go up to a level of service. So at what point, when there's major housing developments as what's occurring in that area, does that level of service change, please?
Through you, Mr Mayor. Thanks, Mr Mayor. Thanks, Councillor Schilling. The very short answer to that is that road is going to meet that criteria. So we've already designed it, we know the cost. It's about the right time to make the investment rather than if we're going to make the investment.
Put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Page 31 is a petition seeking a rescission of a motion, and there's a recommendation there that the council receive and note the petition. Would someone move? Councillor Priest, and seconded Councillor De Vries. Either one was, there's probably not much we can talk about, so because you can't rescind it at this point. Yep. Okay. Any further comment? All those in favour? Carried. Item 3.2.1 is a deputation, and the deputation, Reuben Batten. Reuben, if you can all remember, was our Citizen of the Year. Reuben, I was surprised it was back in 2017. Time flies, doesn't it? So I've asked Reuben just to come along and give us a bit of background and a little bit of history to this historic tree, the Colonel Lights tree in Lindock. So thanks, Reuben. Over to you, sir.
Can you hear me? Is that working? Yes. Yeah, this opportunity to present this to you. The reason for this presentation is to get a endorsement from the council. We're going to put an application in to have the tree, the Colonel Light tree in Lindock, made to a significant tree. The application in 2012 was rejected, but with some new evidence that we've put together and all that, this way we're going to have another try. But with a letter from the council to endorse what we've got, we're hoping to have this tree made significant. So what you're going to hear is readings from Colonel Light's diary, and I'm just going to, Janine's going to stop it, then I'm going to just explain where we're at until we get to the tree. Hopefully we can get it through, but get him back to Adelaide. So Colonel Light's left England on May the 1st, 1836, landed in Kangaroo Island in August. No good for a capital there, so he's ended up in September, stopped at Rapid Bay, and then came into Adelaide, Glenelg area, Holdfast Bay, and walked in there and decided to build Adelaide there. Adelaide's all set up. He put his first peg in on North Terrace and West Terrace there, made Adelaide, and he was employed as Surveyor General through the South Australian Company to find land for the new migrants that were coming out. So if you just want to hear his diary, he's been sent in 1837 in December to start looking for land. So if you want to have a listen to...
December 11th, 1837. At 11:45 a.m. left Adelaide Fisher, Morford, Berkeley, Stevens, Hancock, Jones and Hill. Very fine weather. After travelling over an extensive plain from the termination of the rising ground of North Adelaide, we arrived at our campground by the side of the First River, a distance of about 18 miles from Adelaide, our course being about north-northeast. The country very fine.
Okay, so what you're hearing there is what Jessica Keys, who I'm working with.
Tuesday, December 12th.
So,
very fine night.
There is a time limit on it.
Okay, so what he's done there, Jessica Keys has made this. It's going to be available free for everyone to learn. All right.
We passed a very
Okay, so from there he's come up and he's camped. You know where the old Spot Hotel is in Salisbury? Around there in the parklands there, and there's water there. That's where he's camped for the first night. So he's left with the crew there, with his bullocks, and that's the first night's camp. So if you want to do the second day, he's got up in the morning.
Wednesday.
His time limit on it, I'm so sorry.
Tuesday, December 12th. We passed a very fine night last night, unmolested by mosquitoes, and these 2 days without flies, the weather has been beautiful. We started this morning at 6 and came along a very extensive flat, a great part of it very boggy from the late rains. I rode some way up the hills to the right, from whence we had a beautiful view of the north entrance to the harbour and the plains to the northward. I find the distance between this range and the Mount Lofty to be wider than I thought. After much trouble, we arrived at 10:30 a.m. at the Metawati River when we lunched and remained till 3 p.m. Then followed the banks of the River Awards for about 3 miles to bivouac. Our bullet.
So bivouac, so he's camped now at Dead Man's Pass in Gawler. So he's followed the Metawati River, which is Gawler River now, so he's camped there. But this is the important bit, the 13th of December, which gets him to the Barossa. So Janine, if you want to play The next one there, Janine. So he's leaving Gawler in the morning.
Wednesday, December 13th. Left our camp at 6 a.m. and travelled nearly in a northeast direction over high undulating ground of rich soil for about 6 miles when we came to some parts rather boggy. On descending into a beautiful little plain, we met with plenty of fresh water. Stopped about 9:30 a.m. at a small river running in a tortuous form from the eastward, and where it can empty itself is to me rather puzzling, except into the stream we had just left. We rested here till 2 p.m., then started in direction about east by south and came to some rather bad ground in the hills with many boggy parts and very hard tugging for the bullocks. At length, about 5 p.m., we came to a beautiful valley which I named Lindock Vale, after my much esteemed friend, Lord Lindock. A very disagreeable hot wind till midnight. We had some very fresh gusts during the night from north-northeast.
Okay, so from there
Wednesday,
he's... sorry.
December 13th.
Oh, stop. Yeah.
Left our camp
Good.
at...
Come on, Janine, come on. All right. Okay, so he's left Gawler. He's got
Thursday,
now he's
December
headed.
14th.
So he's headed from Gawler. So he's headed up towards Rosedale and that. So where Turretfield is, he's got through there. He's got the 2 wagons with him. He's got the bullocks and the horses. So it's a lot, like you said, it's hard going. Then he's camped there for a while, had his lunch at 2:30. Then he's turned his party and started heading towards Lindock, where it is now. So he's come up over those hills there. You can see them today, and you'll see where 1837 wines are. They've put a beautiful statue where Colonel Light's come over, and he's seen the area. So he's gone, wow, this is it. This is the place for the new settlers. But he can't camp up there. There's no water up there, so he needs somewhere to camp. So now, if you have a look, if you want to bring up the screen, he's come down, and he's come down to the flat area so the river's there. If you want to get up the slide with with his drawing, and what he's done is
Wednesday, December.
What he's done is he's gone and done a drawing. So Colonel William Light, when you have a look, he is an artist. He's not only just a surveyor and all that, he's also an artist. There's 11 paintings there in the art gallery. So when you have a look at his drawings, and being a surveyor, he's had to pick a tree, and this is the tree here in Lindock. So he's picked a tree which is unusual, a bit of a lean. He hasn't drawn a generic tree in the same way the proclamation tree in Glenearl. You wouldn't say, look, let's have it here. Generic tree. So they've gone and picked something to say to people, this is the spot. So on this part here at 5 o'clock, he's camped underneath that tree. He's set up camp, given the water to the horses, he calls it the station later on, but this is the area where he's camped for 3 days. From there, he's gone up through the Barossa Ranges. He's named the ranges, gone up through, but we'll listen to his diary. So this would be the 14th. So we'll leave it there for the moment. So what we've done there, if you follow, we've used a photo from 1985 because at the moment, if you go to the spot, so where Rick Burge's vineyard is, if you go there and you can get down because he was maybe sitting down on something low, doing his drawing. Because if you stand there now, it's kind of hard to see with some of the trees that are in the way. But if you go there now, this is the Barossa Ranges. So what we did was we've laid his drawing. So if you want to look at the next picture. We've gone and laid his sketch, and this is the main thing here. If you have a look here, up here near towards Steingarten there, you see how it all lines up. So it's pretty much, if you follow his drawing and the tree, the drawing is like a key in a lock. So if you triangulate, if you go and stand in that position and use that ranges there and use the tree, you can triangulate the spot because the previous application to have this tree made significant, they didn't talk about the ranges, they just talked about the tree. So with this, I think we're going to get it over the line, and plus with your endorsement. So if we've got time, did you want to hear the rest of his trip?
Yep, sure.
Okay, you want to go on? Okay, so he's camped there, and if you want to...
Just a few more minutes.
Yep, we'll go there. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So this will be the 14th. So whether you want me to I'll just quickly rattle through instead of the recording. So what he's done there, he's camped there for the first night on the 13th. He's done his drawing. He's gone and taken there was 9 in the group. He's left 2 behind. The first trip he's gone up, he's left Lyndoch, he's headed up towards the Barossa Ranges, and what he's looking for is the Murray River, because they wanted to try and find a link between New South Wales, Victoria, where they could, move freight through and all that. That was one of the ideas of finding this land, is to find a freight route and all that. So we went up to the Barossa Ranges, looked out there, couldn't quite see it, rode all the way along up towards Bethany, Vinevale, and then he came back. He camped again there in Lyndoch, and then the next morning he gets up and he does the same again. He goes up and around, takes another path, goes out towards Tanunda, where it is now, towards Nurayupta, but then he starts to curl back, and he called the creek there, he called it Morphett Creek, after Morphett, who was on the trip with him, but later on they got changed to Tanunda Creek. So he camped there the night, then in the morning he left there, came back through Lyndoch, came to this tree again, picked up the other 2 from the party and that, loaded up the bullocks and that, and then he headed back towards Matawati, which was Gawler, but he didn't go through Rosedale because he already had his bearings and that. So he's taken a trip through to Sandy Creek, and from Sandy Creek he's gone into Gawler, camped there, and then it's like, I reckon, looking at the times, because he was back in Adelaide, he did 22 miles that next day. I think he would have left the bullocks behind because he did have his his mistress at home. He was still married, but she was back in Adelaide, and I think he went flat out and got back to Adelaide. So he was back to Adelaide. He left on the 11th and he was back to Adelaide on the 17th. So I've got so much more I could add, but I know you're limited for time and all that. So I appreciate the time, and
This is the shot of the tree.
this is the tree. This is overlaying on the tree there when you have a look there, and that's with his drawing and that. So the tree's been estimated, like I said, it was voted most significant tree in 2025, but it's a shame, being in the Barossa Valley, to not have a plaque. We're not looking at saying, oh, we want the road moved or anything like that. All we're asking is to try and get this heritage listed through the Heritage SA, so in 100 years from now that they don't go, oh, let's knock this tree down, like no one knows about it. There's no plaque on there or anything like that, and I tell people, and it was in the paper, and people are like, wow, so we're really proud, like in the Southern Barossa, to say, you know what, this is the birthplace of the Barossa. This is the first time Lyndoch was done. He named it Barossa after the Battle of Barossa, like over in Spain, and Lyndoch after Thomas Graham, who was his friend who fought in the Battle of Barossa. So there you are. But yeah, if you've got any questions later on,
You're a wealth of knowledge on the history, China.
the mayor come out and we stood the area and walked the area and all that, and so make history live, and
Look, thanks for all the background work you've done, and just I thought it was worthwhile to bring that along and just highlight the importance of that tree, and I'm sure you endorse me just sending a letter off, and we'll support that as far as going with your next application. So, thanks, Reuben. Thanks very much. Ta.
Worship, I had a question, if I could. So this is effectively, when he was scoping out the Barossa and exploring it, this was the landmark. This was effectively his base camp.
That's right.
So it is probably one of the most significant landmarks
right. So if you
in.
go there now, so at 5 o'clock when he left and come over the ranges, so by the time he would have left down there, it would have been 40 minutes, an hour to get from up where the statue is, where he came over, and he set up camp there and done a drawing. So yeah, that was the base camp. He did come back again in 1838 and also in 1839. Unfortunately, he passed away at 53 in 18, a little bit because he had tuberculosis.
But when he was going to each part of the Barossa, this was the place that he kept coming back to.
So he came back to this point. But
Okay.
But the second night, on the 15th, he slept out, he set up camp, left 2 still back here in Lyndoch, but the other 2, the rest of the party were out at Morphett Creek.
So he would have used this as a landmark, basically.
Yes.
Oh, it's
That's why
incredibly significant.
That's why the tree is, like I could pick any tree and then it'd be hard to go. But if you were telling someone, go by the tree with the angle, here's my drawing, yeah.
We should have heard about this a long time ago, Your Worship. This is important. Yeah.
And that's why I was keen for Reuben to just come on and give you that background and that history, It's, and I always know where the true Barossa is,
Yeah.
don't we?
So the main thing is his diary, the distance, the first distance when it said the 18 miles, if you look at his diary, a lot of people saying it's actually a 13, like that, so if you convert that to kilometres, all the distances are exactly what it is today. Because of being a surveyor, like look at Adelaide, everything has to be precise. So if you look at that and you look at the compass bearings, the compass bearings take you to exactly Lyndoch. So if you follow it, it's exactly the same. So with his diary, the compass bearing and the distance and the hills, the main thing I think is the hills to triangulate that tree to the hills. So it is the tree.
So no, thanks Reuben for telling the story and bringing us up to speed. That's very good. Thank you. We'll move on to 3.2.2, which is a volunteer recognition. And Patrick. Patrick Hayden, come down here, sir. Come and stand next to me, sir. You're in the camera now. That's the importance. So Patrick, I understand you've had 25 years and you've generously given a significant amount of time to our community transport, and on behalf of the elected members and council, we sincerely thank you for your valued contribution over those 25 years. I've given me some data here, which data is very important. 2,128 hours of service you have given this council, and you've also travelled 76,344 kilometres. Does it feel that many? Well, that calculates to 2 times around the world and 5 times around Australia. Just as well you're doing it in a car. Yeah. It'd be a long way on a walking, wouldn't it? It would, yeah. So really, your commitment, your reliability and the care has been a really strong factor of your contribution to this community. So once again, the team, I know we're going to miss you, and I'm sure the people that you've transported are also going to miss you. So thank you so much for that, all that service and your valued contributions. Thank you very much. And all the best with the next people. Good on you. We're just going to get a quick photo, if you don't mind. Thank you, sir. All the best. Deputation 3.2.3 is a deputation from the Torrens Valley Football Club, the use of Tillunga Park Oval. Michael Ferguson. Michael, welcome. Yep, sounds like it's...
All right, I thank everyone for allowing me to do this deputation. First up, before I go into the PowerPoint, I'd like to say what a footy club or sporting club can actually do for people. There's one 12-year-old in Mount Pleasant this year. He was pretty well addicted to the internet. The local primary school sports teacher worked really hard with him to gain the confidence to come out and have a go. And so what he done for 3 months prior to coming to the footy club, he went up the oval every afternoon and probably trained without our knowledge, probably trained with the barricades up and stuff like that. And in the end, there was probably 10 kids up there with him. And probably about June, I think, he had the confidence to come out and train with the rest of the team. Now, that kid didn't get a kick, had 1 touch, I think, for the season, but the smile on his face when he achieved that 1 touch just got everyone in that whole club going. I'll tell you a story about Karen over here. Her lad I coached in 14s. Last year, they had, I guess, a very anxiety. They didn't know how to fit in with a crowd and stuff. This year, she's the secretary of the footy club, just because of the improved self-esteem of their lad. He coached the Auskick kids this year, so his confidence has gone through the roof just by being involved in the sporting club. My story, why I became a president. In 2019, went through the fires, and then that same year we lost a little Bubs that was 3 days old. That obviously affects the family. I nearly lost my wife at the same time. Now, my young lad, who's now 10, went down to the Oval. Charlie and a few of the other lads got around him, and now he lives and breathes that place. So it's not footy, it's actually connection and community. That is the charter that we've pushed the footy club down this year. We've got rid of the win at all costs mentality, and the club has grown. And I think we've had a 259% increase in Auskick participation this year at Mount Pleasant. So I'll go into this PowerPoint presentation now. Start with Toolunga Park. It's an amazing place. Done right, the people that done it, that put the original vision in place back in the 70s, had a vision that is still second to none. It still applies in today's environment. So the key facts: we are based in 2 towns. The footy club is an amalgamation of Pleasant Valley and Mount Torrens Bombers. We play half our games at Mount Torrens and half our games at Mount Pleasant. The mailing and physical address has been Mount Pleasant since we've been amalgamated, since 1997. The club is experiencing growth in all areas, not only in people out in the field, but volunteers, people that want to be involved. And in fact, just this week, with the footy club's help, we've managed to bring back 2 junior cricket teams to an area that hasn't had junior cricket for 30 odd years. It's a pretty big achievement. Its primary focus, and this is straight from the Barossa Council website, is on community development, empowering youth and promoting positive engagement through sport and other avenues. In 2025, the club had 173 players participating across A grade, B grade, under 17s, under 14s and under 11s teams, making it the second largest club by numbers in the HFL country division. Additionally, 20 players took part in the Auskick program this year. We expect that to expand this year, and people are already coming because of the positive approaches we are making. The 2026 HFL Grand Final is scheduled to be hosted, hopefully at Mount Pleasant, but it's definitely by Torrens Valley. However, Mount Torrens Oval currently does not meet any of those standards to have that final, so we may lose that revenue raising exercise. This year, Meadows hosted the grand final, pretty small oval. The club itself turned over 45,000 on that particular day, and all of the community groups that manned barbecues and stuff probably all turn over around about 2,500, 3,000 each. So that sort of an event in Mount Pleasant contributes significantly to the community in the end. Mount Pleasant and Springton are lower socioeconomic areas, and sport is a key driver to the wellbeing of the youth in the area. As I said in that intro, it's so imperative these kids have something to do and some structure in their life and some discipline. And a lot of the kids from the footy club now are actually going out and volunteering, working around the town, and they've got that structure behind them. The majority of our committee and volunteers are all Barossa Council based. I'm from Mount Torrens, but I'm probably the only one from that region. The football club is one of the largest local community organisations in the region and contributes to the economic and social fabric of the region. The reach for footy club, every person that plays or is involved, it reaches out 10 times for that. So we've got 1,500 followers on our Facebook page. That is a reach of 15,000 people within an area. So it's a pretty powerful organisation for a small organisation. Football Club has provided a community bus that has been well utilised throughout the district by schools and other community groups as a gift to the community. We have sponsors to that, and that is used for elderly, for birthday parties, for schools, everyone in the region. That's a gift that the footy club's given to the community. not expecting anything back. Our goal is to create strong and sustainable community networks. We provide a range of programs and services that support health and wellbeing, community connection and social cohesion. That is a line that is from the council website. This year we proactively contacted the council in January about training and game days. We did not want to change the 4 games per year, and it should be 4 game days per year, not 4 games. But the lack of response caused problems with our venue planning, our sponsors, families. We had kids crying because they couldn't come on the Oval. We're only volunteers, and we had to deal with all those emotions that were coming through. While the Oval's conditions justified its restricted use, renting the pavilion alone, we could not even do that, and we didn't get answers to that. We're still waiting answers on insurance, injury reports, whether that was club-based, whether there was any insurance claims come to the council, Oval conditions and Friday night games for the kids, which wouldn't damage the Oval. We are aware that Footy Club met with council staff a number of times back when the master plan was being developed, and we cannot find notes on any of these meetings and any of the public documents that have been released on council. The master plan in public documents is lacking in both social and financial impacts and detail on how conclusions have been reached, considering the detail available in the original statement in the 1970s. And I see from the workshop a few weeks back that there's a budget allocation of 317,000 or something for an arena in Toollunga Park. I've asked around and no one even knows what position that arena is supposed to be in Toollunga Park. Since the plan was developed, society has changed with the impact of COVID and the Cuddly Creek fire, creating change in this region. Now, you've probably got records of that in council, but community actually wants to connect now. So it doesn't matter whether it's equestrian, footy, just social connection, learning history. Community wants to connect. So there's a significant change in the way we operate as a society now. So I've sent everyone, and I apologise for all the councillors that have been bombarded with information, but we really looked at the minutes from back in the 70s when the steering committee of Toollunga Park was originally established, and there's some valuable information in that. So from that, we done that little community asset optimisation document. I was hoping to get user input from every other user group within Toollunga Park. That's yet to come, but as on there, this park could be developed into a leading edge social inclusion area across multiple demographics, which would add to the already connected community in this region. So that place up there, if you go back and have a look at the original minutes from the 70s, it could actually connect metro and local area, service the local community, and be one of the only places in the state that is across multiple sort of areas like chooks and equestrian and all that sort of stuff. For all of the above reasons, and as demonstrated by the support shown in the petition that you've seen tonight, and social media, the club believes that the outcome of the July 15 meeting should be rescinded, and this looked at it a lot more closely in all the implications, social, financial, and everything. The club at this stage, 2026, would agree to retain the 4 game days, including Friday nights, hopefully for modified football, because we believe we'll have an under-8s Mount Pleasant based side next year, plus the grand final for the 2026 season until the master plan is reinvented. The club has worked with the equestrian community since 1997 to enable both groups to use the Oval in collaboration, and we really want to understand the insurance issues that go with this. The document provided titled Community Asset Optimization or similar could possibly be sent to all user groups for input so the robust fact-based master plan can be developed. This is from the original minutes in the steering committee. An opportunity to provide such a facility in this area will in all probability never present itself again. It will make an ideal recreational facility for local and metropolitan families. It's a pretty big statement from some guys that put all this together back in the 70s and actually got a whole group of people collaborated to sell property and put Toollunga Park on the map where it is now. And there's been a little bit of stuff that's been done since then, but that original vision is worth going back and reading the minutes on. So thanks all for listening to my story. I hope everyone's read some of the other documentation that I've sent to everyone, and I'm open for a few questions now.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Questions? Not a debate, but is there any questions?
Thank you, Michael, for your presentation. You mentioned with the Mount Torrens Oval that there was a point system. Do you know what the rating is for the Mount Pleasant Oval?
Yes. Around about twice as good as what Mount Torrens is. And that was the audit that was done on Monday, so we should have that information out sometime this week.
Okay, thank you.
And for the big things about we believe that there was to both toilets up there, so to actually rejig that a little bit so it's adaptable to multi-gender sports and stuff is a pretty cost-effective process, whereas Mount Torrens is probably 300 or 400,000, so it's not a short-term option down there.
Thank you, Your Worship. An excellent presentation, Michael. You mentioned you'd like us to rescind the July motion. What is your understanding of why we took that?
It's all based, my understanding is all based on stuff that happened back in 2018, and in our opinion, some of the facts that were presented to this room were not, I guess, truthful in a way. So there's half-truths involved in that. And
Look, Michael, I prefer you don't go there because I'll back our staff with what they tell us, sir. So your understanding might be a lot different to what we've been told. So just stay with the facts and keep the personalities out of it.
yeah, that's fine. So, so I guess I won't go into that because I think I've mentioned that in a bit of correspondence that's come out anyway.
Are you aware, though, why we actually made the decision in July?
No.
Okay.
Very good correspondence.
Sorry?
I think, Michael, I've had a conversation with you over the phone, and I thought we made it pretty clear. But anyway, any other questions?
No, that's all I need to know. Thank you.
Questions? Thanks, Michael, for that, and we will have further deliberations, no doubt, in the future. Now, on our deputation, we did have contact with the equestrian group, and we was led to believe that someone was going to try to get here, but they haven't been able to get here, so we'll still follow up with the equestrian to get their perceptions of their needs for the future use of that facility, so that you're getting a broader understanding of what's going to be suitable there and whether the two can work together or play together. We'll move on to item 3.3.1, and this is a notice of motion from on page 50 from Councillor Angus. I assume, Councillor Angus, you'll move that motion? Okay.
Thank you, yes. Would you like me to proceed? Well, I'd like to move that the Chief Executive undertake investigations into the cost, logistics, benefits of displaying the Australian flag at civic locations around the Barossa Council, and to provide a report back to Council within 3 months, noting any support for the service level will require a new initiative and be developed for future funding if the service is to be provided.
Wish to speak to it now, Councillor?
Yes, please. This has arisen out of a request from a ratepayer who emailed every councillor and the staff, I imagine, and our initial response was to that ratepayer that it's probably too expensive and, you know, it's not going to happen. I was a bit unhappy with that response and I thought that that ratepayer deserved at least to have the question asked and investigated. And I stress, this is an investigation, it's not making any hard and fast rules. I think from people that I've spoken to, some think there is going to be a flag on every council piece of property from Stockwell to Williamstown and McColter to Freeling. I don't think that is the intention. It certainly isn't what I would see as the intention. It was really noting memorial halls that we own, and that was the specific request, which I don't think is unreasonable. And given the society in some areas of Australia's propensity to burn the flag, maybe we should have a little bit more pride in flying it proudly, rather than it being an object of ridicule, scorn, or not even flying it at all. So somewhere in there will be some middle ground that I'm hopeful that we can reach. And so I welcome a report back from the staff.
Councillor De Vries.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think I was actually saying to you today that the first notice of motion I ever moved was that we actually had originally not 3 flags, we had 2. One was the Union Jack and the other one was the Australian flag, and we did not have the South Australian flag. And I was kind of curious as to why we had the Union Jack, and it turned out that those 2 flags actually were inherited from the Tanunda Council. And I heard that from Councillor Lickey, and for all I know, they might have gone all the way back to Federation. I think that flags are highly symbolic and very important, but at the moment I don't think that I have a clear understanding of what our policy is in regards to flags. And I'm supporting this because I agree with Councillor Angus that I think we should at least investigate this and find out what the opportunities are. I don't believe, for example, that every flagpole in the Barossa should be flying the Australian flag at all times. That would then diminish the significance of those important occasions. But maybe there are certain days of the year that we're not actually honouring where we could. The problem with doing it every day, I was in the Army Reserves at Puckapunyal. We had 1 flagpole for the entire base, and it had to go up at dawn and down at dusk, and it's quite an involved approach, and you can't have the flag touch the ground, and there's all sorts of things, and so it's not something you just scrunch up and chuck in the drawer. It has to be carefully folded and properly respected. So if we're going to do this, I think we need to do it properly. I would think that when we do this investigation, we should be thinking not just in terms of the cost, but also about the symbolism and what is the most appropriate outcome for this. So I look forward to seeing what we come up with. I don't think that we necessarily have to have flags flying on every flagpole every 365 days of a year, but at the moment it'd be very interesting to actually see what the report can bring back.
Thank you. Councillor Craig.
Yeah, I agree and endorse everything that Councillor Angus has said tonight. I don't think there's been enough pride shown in our Australian flag at this present time. So I just agree and endorse everything that Councillor has said.
I can't remember a time that I've disagreed with Councillor Angus on anything. And yet here we are. We shall mark this anniversary henceforth. I'm sort of wondering, did I go to sleep and wake up in an alternative universe this evening? I cannot understand. I am not properly rested, clearly, can't get a sentence out. I'm not sure why we would seek to disrupt the status quo in this regard, and I agree with the point about not necessarily trying to be extreme in any particular direction and in fact finding a middle ground. It would seem to me that the status quo that we currently have is the middle ground, where there is a policy and that is a purely administrative thing which is managed by the executive or by delegation, as is a broad range of things. I'm not one for flag burning, but I'm certainly not one either for sort of overly enthusiastic adherence to symbols. I don't understand why we would put resources into investigating this. I think the status quo is perfectly acceptable. There is an enormous range of things that this council can spend time and effort and money and staff resourcing on, and I don't believe whether we should be flying flags or not falls into those pressing issues that we should be resourcing.
Thank you, Mayor. Just further to that, I'm not sure, are we looking at a report and then seeking a new initiative afterwards?
It's an investigation, and it'll come back as a report, and then you can deliberate on the investigations as to what the options may be.
So we're putting, as the previous speaker, Councillor Greatwich, has said, is that going to run in? Could I ask the CEO what that estimated cost would be in that 3-month period? As a ballpark figure, Mr. CEO, nothing.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I'd have to take it on notice. I haven't even done a project plan. It really depends how many scenarios.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple $1,000
Yeah.
of time.
Time.
Certainly not one we're going to be briefing out to somebody.
Yeah. So that I agree is a situation where I'm weighing up with the debate that's been happening now, that flags are important, but do we have the resources to do that in the next 3 months? Because we've got busy times ahead and other big projects, etc., putting more pressure on the staff. And so I'm not anti either way, but I think we should take that into consideration tonight. And of course, there's no new initiatives for this year. So even if we get a report and we want to do something, it won't happen until the next financial year.
If not, I'll put the motion. Oh, sorry, you closed the debate. Sorry, councillor.
Thank you. Well,
Not intentional, I assure you.
shock of shocks that Councillor Greatwich has chosen to disagree with me. However, I would simply reiterate that this is a reaction to a customer request. I am not necessarily in favour of it or against it. I believe that person has a right to be heard, and I don't think it should cost $2,000. I think as council staff are driving around, they can have a look at the flagpole in Newry and report back to Ben and do the same in Williamstown. It doesn't need to be exhaustive. It just needs to be done. Please support it if you feel strongly about it.
That there closed the debate. Put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? The motion is carried. Thank you. Page 54 is the Mayor's report. Someone like to move the Mayor's report? Councillor De Vries. Seconded Councillor Troop. No questions, comments? Put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Oh, I need to do that one again. Councillor Lane, all those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Item 6 is a number of matters for information. Councillor Schilling.
Yes, Mr Mayor, I would like to ask a question of 6.3 and also add some information to 6.5, if I may, please. So reading through the annual report for the Gawler River Floodplain Management Authority and the potential grant that the state government may agree to increase the capacity of that dam. I was just thinking how, or will there be any on-flow, pardon the pun, effects to Concordia? So does that waterway flow into the waterways of Concordia, and will that have any impact on management of water in Concordia? Are we aware of anything? Or just...
I'll let the officer speak.
Through you, Mr Mayor. So with the Concordia development, runoff will occur into the Gawler River. However, as part of the engineering requirements for that development, post-development flows can't exceed pre-development flows into the river through a number of different stormwater retention requirements in terms of basins and man-made lakes and creeks and soakage and all that sort of jazz. So the idea is that water won't go in that exceeds what goes in already once the development's finished.
All right, thank you. And 6.5, like I was pleased to see the Green Industries initiative to have a textile collection day, but I have been speaking with the local Rotary Club who do manage clothing collection bins around the Barossa, and they have got grave concerns about managing second-hand clothing in their bins. And I spoke with one of their representatives today that they are taking away 2 tonnes of clothing every 2 weeks, most of which is coming out of the Nuriutpa bin at the Barossa Co-op. They thought that when salvos came to Nuriutpa that may be alleviated slightly, but it hasn't made any impact whatsoever. And during the school holidays, the Rotary Club had to empty that bin every day, sometimes twice a day, with that much gear. And it's not just clothes that goes into those bins, it's toys, it's anything from somebody who's moving house, doesn't want any more, goes in those bins. They're spending $500 a month in a skip bin to take the junk away, and they are not getting paid for anything anymore. So they're spending money to remove it and very little's going back into their op shops. So they're concerned that once their current contract for taking away the excess ends, that it's going to become a council problem. So may I suggest that perhaps we ask the Rotary to come and either speak at a workshop or maybe a deputation to fill us in on what potential problems are occurring in this area?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. It's a well-known issue around, and there's been some significant research done over years. I think what might be best before we do any of that is we'll come up with a workshop item and have a chat. Some years ago I was involved in one a long time ago, and basically the solution was to take it away because it's actually causing more cost than benefit. Now, actually, I thought the Barossa Co-op had taken that one away a long time ago, but obviously they haven't. So my suggestion, Mr Mayor, is, in the new year, let's have a conversation about that waste flow and what is actually, and I am aware of some extensive research that's been done by, what do they call themselves now? Greening Waste, dare say?
Councillor Hearn, I don't want to stifle the conversation, but we're dealing with these matters. We're not going to broaden it out too wide, are we?
Not really, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Unless I can get consensus from the rest of the floor. Just a quick one on the GRFM. Yeah. I agree with Adelaide Plains Council that it's absolutely a waste of time, this thing. I've been to 2 meetings and we're talking about huge expense if we raise the dam wall, getting grants, and whether this council can actually afford, and it's not in our forward estimates, to spend lots and lots of money. And we can't keep the water in that dam. It gets released. And it's costing us about 65,000, 70,000 a year just to maintain it, to look at the fences and tap the bank and see whether it's stable or not. And there's depreciation on the dam. When you listen to all these things, as Councillor Priest would have found out previously, it's a bit of a talk fest, and what's at the end of the tunnel. So could I ask the CEO, well, no, that's perhaps not, whether there would be any chance of any money. So we continually go to these meetings and find that we may as well be a knitting club okay, we go away happy and we have scones and cream, so that was lovely at Malala last week. But we do all these things, so what if the councils all said to the state government, see you later, alligator?
I think the state government wants to keep us there because we're a very good.
We are a very good
we
council.
are a very good excuse when the flood comes.
We are very good.
I think we're digressing a little bit.
Well,
so
it's mentioned up there, but we keep doing these things. So
no, well, I think if they keep coming back trying to take more water out of the well, excuse the pun, we might think about that money. Do you want to add something further?
Sure, Mr Mayor, I can partly answer that. The work that's been done over the years is really about a business case for that downstream flood mitigation management issue. It's a little while since I've been on, but I was on there for the 18 months while we were doing that business case. And that business case hasn't actually been fully completed. It's still got other work to do. And the state infrastructure, what do they call it now? It's the Infrastructure SA, certainly provided some feedback about that report where it is deficient. So until that's done, I think there's minimal chance that the state and federal governments, because it's going to have to be both, are going to stump up $250 million. That's my answer.
Yeah, contrary to Councillor Hearn, I think the board does a fantastic job. What the knitting club, you said they would do a knitting club or something. They do a very important role in what they do. In fact, the last 3 years more has been done than over previous times from what I've led to believe. So they do a very good job. And possibly in the future, the board will go, it'll end up belonging to the SA Water, which is probably a future thing as well. So there probably in the future there won't be a board, it'll belong to the SA Water. So it's not just a knitting club, they do a very important issue.
Yeah, look, we welcome the SA Water taking it over, that'll be for sure. Okay. No, there's no actions. That was for information. We got away from the subject a little bit there, but there we go. 7.1.1 is a review of the confidential orders on page 205.
Mr Mayor.
Yes.
Obviously I have a conflict of interest related to my annual performance reviews.
Of course it is, yes.
I'll leave the meeting. I better turn that off too. Sorry.
Moved Councillor De Vries, seconded Councillor Angus. Either one wish to speak to it? No further comment? All those in favour? Carried. Page 209, 7.1.2 is the minor update to the internal review of Council's decision processes 209 with the recommendations. Moved Councillor Barrett, seconded Councillor Lane. Either one wish to speak to it? No. Put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Page 224. Is the annual closure of council office, libraries, Barossa Visitor Centre, depot over the Christmas and New Year period. Page 224 with those dates. Moved Councillor Evans and seconded Councillor Hearn. Either one wish to speak? Christmas is coming. All those in favour? Carried. Page 228. Is the monthly financial report as of the 30th of September with a recommendation. Moved councillor De Vries, seconded councillor Troop. Either one wish to speak to it? Move the recommendation. All those in favour? Carried. Page 231, I should say. The 7.3.1 is the State Bicycle Fund notification of grant with a recommendation. Moved councillor Angus, seconded councillor Lane. Either one wish to speak to it? Councillor Barrett.
Quick question. I should have asked beforehand. We will be sealing a dit road, and I read that through the deed. Is that an ongoing commitment to then maintain the 1.5 metre shoulders, and is that shoulder going to be on both sides of the road into Mount Pleasant?
Mr Clark.
There will be an ongoing commitment to obviously maintain that sealed shoulder, and it will only be on the one side to get them to bring them across, to get them through the, you have to confirm with me, Mr Mayor, bring them in the back of the CFS, is that that's the intention, to bring them onto Railway Terrace. So we'll seal that bit through there, so they've got a sealed shoulder to be able to get through to access Railway Terrace, because the old railway corridor is no longer state-owned, which is where we would have tried to bring them across.
So along the road from the parking bay near the Seeger property down to Cricks Mill Road, there'll be just one side of the road with a shoulder of 1.5 metres. Thank you for clarification. Councillor Evans.
Thank you, through the Mayor. Just in relation to cost with this, I see the grant is $100,000 total. In relation to the council's contribution to the total overall costs, I saw there they used the word supplements. I'm just clarifying. Thank you, Ben.
Through you, Mr Mayor, so as a part of the annual business plan, council approved a $100,000 investment, so match funding, so it'll be $200,000 total project budget for that one.
That's all up?
Yep.
For delivery? Yep.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'd just like to congratulate our economic development team and the works team for a successful grant application. Any further comments? Mover and second, I wish to, the mover second to close it. All those in favour? Carried. Page 245. 7.3.2 is the Williamstown Queen Victoria Jubilee Park. Safety consideration, stage 2 of the tree removal. I think we've had a first dip at it, the really bad ones, and now we've got to go back and finish the job. Councillor De Vries. Moved Councillor De Vries, seconded Councillor Hearn. Wish to speak to it?
Needs to be done, so. We've talked about it previously.
Yeah, okay. I'll put the motion there. All those in favour? Carried. Page 270. Which is 7.4.1 is the revocation of the community land allotment 8, George Street, Williamstown. Been out for consultation and now comes back for council's endorsement. Moved Councillor De Vries, seconded Councillor Troop. Either one wish to speak to it? No comment. I will put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Page 274, 7.4.2 is the World Heritage bid update. Moved Councillor Angus and seconded Councillor Evans. Councillor Great.
Well, I was going to move it, but my esteemed colleague, no. Not at all. No. Sorry, has it been seconded? May I speak? Yeah, briefly. Yes, splendid. I just wanted to briefly note that this matter has been under conversation and consideration for a very long time. I'm really pleased to support the reallocation of this funding, but I also just wanted to make a note, I suppose, that $60,000 is not an insubstantial amount of money, and we are often as a council, as a local government organisation, consistently having to make decisions about allocations of funding. And I'd just like to press home the point that, in fact, we do have very considerable resources at our disposal, and every funding decision that we make is one of simply a matter of whether that is something that we want to push forward. So there is significant resources available. It's just simply a decision that is in front of the council as to where we allocate those resources.
Councillor Evans, you wish to speak to it at all, or? Councillor De Vries.
Yes, Councillor Greatwich has said this has been dragging on for a very long time. I think, Your Worship, when we spoke, it was about 15 years or something like that. The reason why this fell over was the state government had zero interest in doing anything about it, and I think that they're ultimately the key to this. Reading between the lines, it's pretty obvious that the timing of this is significant with the election coming up next year. The money's just sitting there doing nothing. It's already been allocated. So to some extent, it's a lobbying fee, I think. But they've got to either do this or not do it, and this will ultimately decide one way or the other. So if they can get it over the line, if they can get the state government to put their hand up and do something about it, terrific. If not, well, it was one of those interesting things that we looked at years and years and years ago.
Just further to my other colleagues' comments, I don't think we can underestimate the value if this gets over the line for the future. I mean, it's a bit like us planning for Concordia. Many of us won't see the completion of that, and we won't see the impact of a World Heritage site in South Australia and protecting our landscape. So, in my opinion, it's a small price to pay for something that's going to last for a very, very long time.
Any further comment? Wish to close the debate, Councillor Greatwich? Okay. All those in favour? Carried. Item 7.4.3 is the Williamstown Youth Engagement Public Art Walls on page 279. Councillor Greatwich.
I'm happy to move the recommendation. No, thank you.
Just the fact that there is a fair reason that something like this should be created. We do have a lot of vandalism. I've lived in Williamstown quite a lot of my time, and it just seems to keep popping up, and it keeps popping up at interesting time frames when school holidays coincide. So to have something which engages youth, I think it's a step in the right direction. I'm not really in rewarding that type of behaviour, but it's certainly a step in the right direction to get something going. I'd be pretty interested to see what it all looks like in practice. In theory, it looks nice, but in practice down there, it would be interesting to see locations of graffiti but it's a good start. So, yeah, I'll support it.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Quick question, and it's to do with the having the graffiti implements. Are they going to be issued at the site, or are the youth going to be carrying them to and from the location? I'm just thinking of the difficulties of police stopping the youth carrying these if they're going to and from, and the policing of it, the particular Mark Graffiti Act.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, thank you, Councillor Barrett. My understanding is that through the working group that will be established to, I guess, control to some degree what goes on the wall, that supplies will be provided at that point.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm very aware of the situation down in Williamstown, and that this project has been something that's been bandied around and trying to get up for the last couple of years. So I'd just like to say that it's great to see the Council Community Service Department getting behind it, and I'm also a bit excited and look forward to seeing the council-wide youth engagement model. That's looking forward to seeing that. So well done to the team, and it's great to see this progressing and supporting Williamstown Group.
Thank you, through the Mayor. Could I just please ask what is the overall cost of this initiative for delivery with Council, and how long this will run for with this initiative? Please forgive me if it's in the text, I've read it, but I just didn't get the actual overall time of engagement here with the Williamstown youth, like whether it's a 1-year program or a 3-year program, or... Thank you.
Yeah, through you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Evans. So there'll be no budget impact per se.
Okay.
That'll be from within existing service delivery.
Great.
In terms of the actual trial period, I may need to take that on notice and get back to you. I'm not entirely sure of the length of the trial.
Okay, thank you. Yep, that would be great. I mean, a great initiative, but thanks.
Any further comment? Not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Now, we had an addendum report which went out, which was to do with the Barossa Character Area Review. And I'll just bring that up. With a recommendation.
Well, I have a question, Mr Mayor.
You can have a question. Yep.
Just reading through the suggested people to sit on that working group, I noticed that there's no mention of any elected members, and wondered why, when we're the people that have to ultimately approve that review when it comes to us, that maybe there would be some elected members that might like to sit on that panel.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Schilling. So the idea would be that that working group would report up through to Council, and Council would ultimately have the final decision on any actions from that working group.
CEO?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. There are actually 2 mayors on it. Sorry. And we just need to be really clear, the council actually won't approve anything. Ultimately, whatever comes out of this, that we make decisions to try and get amendments to the planning code, we've got no control over that. It's a ministerial decision.
Councillor Greatwich.
I may ask a question at this point, may I? Because it hasn't been, yeah. And just before I do that, I just wanted to clarify that I'm not declaring a conflict of interest because I'm not currently a member of the Barossa Regional Residents Association. So I just wanted to make that clear. Specifically, my question is, or I suppose my concern is the proposed stakeholders who would be invited to sit on the working group. And as far as I've read it, that at the moment is the mayors, as we've discussed, representatives from the councils who may wish to be involved, RDA and Barossa Australia, but we're not inviting the Barossa Regional Residents Association to sit on that working group. And I think that is an enormous oversight. And I think that it's critically important that as an independent representative body, a membership body that's been established since 1987, I think, has many hundreds of members, operates under a governance structure and is involved in this all day, every day, and has a constitutionally recognised objective to engage with this work, that we would not invite them to sit on this working group, but we would invite Barossa Australia and RDA, neither of whom have this form of stakeholder engagement as part of their core work. So I would very, very strongly request or desire that the Regional Residents Association is invited to sit as one of those working group stakeholders. And if not, I'd very much like to understand why not.
I'm going to answer that very simply by, it's ultimately your choice. I will add, we need to be careful how far that principle goes. You know, we work, and at the end of the day, I would imagine one will apply to be honoured in any case. So certainly I did the first drafts, it's gone through the council's administration. If you want to put more people on it, you can.
Just to add to that, we met with the group on Monday to advise them of this paper, and you know, it would be our expectation that as part of the expression of interest process that we'd receive one or more applications from that group, and then they would be appointed or have representation at the table.
Thank you, Councillor Angus. Your enduring indulgence, greatly appreciated. I completely understand that. I do also think, however, that as a mark of perhaps respect and acknowledgement of the work that that group has done. Sorry?
We're debating. I haven't got a motion
yes, no, you're
yet.
right. Sorry,
Yeah.
I beg your...
Yes, it was a question, so, yep. I need a motion.
I was going to ask a question.
Okay, if you're asking a
If I
question,
may.
I'll allow a question.
Who ultimately decides the membership of this group? Who will decide? I assume we're going to invite expressions of interest. Who will adjudicate?
The council.
Elected members. Yeah. Yeah. Mayor, I'm happy to move this recommendation.
Thank you. Move Councillor Angus, seconded Councillor Bruce, you seconding?
Yeah, I will. I was going to move it, but that's fine.
Yes, thank you. This is another link in the chain of work that was started in 2012 and not completed for one reason or another. I think it's vital that we do get on with this and ensure that the future of the Barossa is protected with legislation that has some teeth, not the apparent toothless tiger that we currently have. We only get one chance to do it. It's been an ongoing, bit like the World Heritage bid, but it is worth pursuing it, and I would urge you all to support it.
I agree with everything that councillors just said.
So I just wanted to ask from a procedural point of view then, given that the recommendation here is to endorse the draft project scope as it's been presented here, but I would like to know by what means I can have that amended to reflect that if that's what I'm asking procedurally, how do I go about that further to my previous question?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Thanks, Councillor Crowich. There's two mechanisms. You can either move an amendment. The Mayor decides whether that amendment is consistent. If your amendment is to basically add them in as a reserved seat, I don't think that fundamentally changes it. The alternative is the mover and the seconder agree to a variation.
Can I take door number 1, please, as the option? I mean, I'm happy to take either door, that's fine, but... Okay. Look at this, harmony, Barossa Council. Thank you. If that's the case, yeah, thank you. Just under the section of where it talks about the stakeholders who will be the founding members of the working group, and then noting that there will be additional expressions of interest that can be received. But further to my earlier point, I do think that having the Barossa Regional Residents Association as a founding or established member of that working group is critically important. Thank you very much. A. As the same as everybody else, yeah. No special treatment, but that they should be absolutely included. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Barossa Regional Residents Association, if we want to be specific, yep. Just one, yeah. 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 Residents Association. Sorry, Janine, I should have had something written. No, that's
Don't worry, Mayor. Sorry, I just said, do you need anyone to second councillor Greatwich's amendments, but it's under the initial, yep. Thank you.
Inc.
Oh, Inc, yes, incorporated.
So it should be Inc in there. Should be Inc.
As an incorporated, yeah.
Get the wording right.
Okay, all good?
splendid. Thank you very much.
Is that okay with you?
Any further comment?
And,
You wish to close the debate, councillor?
Yes, I will. Just to say that I think the proposed amendment from Councillor Greatwich, which we have worked on and worked out, is worthwhile and inclusive, and may save a lot of argy-bargy. So, yeah, I would urge you all to support the motion.
I just realised I had one question. Light, what's the appetite with Light? Have we got a bit of a feel that they're on board now? Yeah, okay. So I take it they're on board.
Through the Mayor, we're meeting with Light later this week to advise of the outcome, and they've indicated their initial support of the project, subject to taking it to their chamber.
Okay, thanks. All right. I shouldn't ask that question after you closed the debate, councillor. Excuse my apologies. All those in favour? Carried. We now move to confidential items with the SANFL South Australian Country Championship tender bid, along with the Cainton Road Stage 2 tender, and also the Angaston and Newry Oval lighting upgrade tender. So with that, I'll ask someone we move into comments. Councillor Priest and seconded Councillor Hearn. All those in favour? Thank you. Next item in confidence is the Cainton Road Stage 3 tender. Someone move we go into Councillor Priest, seconded Councillor Hearn. All those in favour? Carried. Next item on our confidential is Australia at Anguston Newryupta Oval Lighting Upgrade Tender. Someone move we go into confidence. Councillor Priest and seconded Councillor Greatwich. All those in favour? Carried. Members, that concludes the October meeting. Our next scheduled meeting is the 18th of November, and with that I'll formally close the meeting. Thank you for your attendance.